Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is good to be back. As you see, Zoe is back too. She wasn't in the last episode a couple weeks ago because she was at my sister's, who was taking care of her, and now got her picked up, and she's back being my co-star here. So super chat treats for Zoe are in effect, as you can see. She's very interested in that. But today's topic, as I said, I wanted to wait a week to kind of hopefully hear from Carnival. And the good news is I did. And the topic of the show, the Carnival changing policy due to Coach Cruz. What's that about? For those of you that are on the Coach Cruz Facebook page, I posted something today in response to, and it's probably, let's be honest, those of you that are following my channel and have since the beginning, it's probably the hottest topic that I've ever had in terms of debate, between some people and things like that. And I made a couple of different posts in which you could see that it was getting under my skin a little bit. Not because of, what people were saying. What people were saying that eventually got under my skin is they were saying, well, let's first go through the whole story here first. But before I do that, let me say hello to everybody because it would be rude of me not to. Sean gets the gold medal today. He is checked in first. Sean Abel, that is, and admin Tim is silver medal, and Sandy the Lost Pirate Jenkins is with the bronze. Then we had Roderick Hawkins right after that at the wire. Cheryl is here once again. We have Shane. Eric from North Shore Travelers, who I messaged with, and I was what is it? What's the super Snapchat? I Snapchatted with. I was on Snapchat for maybe 45 minutes before I deleted it. As I expressed to Eric, I get so many comments and questions on YouTube and Facebook and things like that that I'm constantly responding to. And admin Tim can confirm this because he keeps plenty busy, on Facebook as well. And so thank the Lord for Tim and all the help he gives me because it would be difficult. So like I said, I got a bunch of friend requests and questions and stuff like that as soon as I open that Snapchat, and I'm like, nope, gotta delete it because I can't keep up with the YouTube and Facebook as it is. Ken is here. We have Gwen J here. Cruise Life TV is here, and Cruise Life TV, it's been a while, but you guys won the Loud Cup drawing. I don't remember if you ever told me what cup you wanted or whatever, but I have you marked down along with Carnival Cruise Addicts and Cheryl. I have a new order of shirts coming in. I still have some shirts left, but a whole new batch with, I ran out of pink almost completely except for small. And yeah, so I have more blues coming in. I'm almost out of. Will G is here. Mandy is here once again. Crystal Vanover, welcome to the show. Adventures with Uncle Dave, and we chatted a bit too in the past couple days. A&J on board is here. Charlene Hawkins is here. Controversial Cruising. What's up, Scott? Kimberly Lavelle, welcome back. Sean, I've already mentioned. We got Rick Wade, our journalist, is here. What's going on, Rick? Adventures with Uncle Dave, I said, right? Yeah. Graham Costigan Cripps, welcome to the show. Diana McDay, welcome to the show. T-Boat on the go, welcome back. Tim D, Tim from Austin, all right. Good to see you. Embarkation Nation is checking in once again. We got Liz and Chris from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Joseph Gibson saying hello from Texas. What's going on? Tim and Ernie. Okay, very cool. I know who you are. Cruise Life TV. And yeah, all right. So that catches up everybody who's at least put in the comments. And since we have 60 people almost in here, if you could hit that like button, J&T Adventures, welcome to the show. While you're thinking about, we can get maybe, heck, let's push for 100. We're over halfway there, right? Let's try to get 100 people here. But great to see the great turnout. And regarding changing policies, so what I meant by that, for those of you that were on the Facebook my Facebook cruise page, I put out a post today and I shared 2 emails. They were screenshots. The one was from July 22nd. Actually, it was July 23rd in Australia, but July 22nd in the States. That's probably why it's dated July 22nd. And I was in Brisbane. And at the time, I was told by representatives of Carnival, which we'll get into in just a bit, but to contact guest care. Like that was basically my best option. So after speaking with somebody on the phone, they confirmed as much, and I finally emailed guest care. Well, in the response on the email, it said it could take up to 5 business days. And I put out a video that I shared on the Facebook. If you haven't seen it, it's only been seen about 1,500 times, so you might not have seen it. That it had been, I think, 9 or 10 days, and I still had not been contacted. So obviously well over the 5 business days, a full weekend, and then a few more business days, right? And I still hadn't been contacted. Well, then I'm happy to say, and that's why, I'm going to talk about that, because most of you know I'm a big fan of Carnival, love Carnival, and to the point where a couple people have said, are you still going to cruise with Carnival after this whole ordeal? And that's before I was even contacted. And I said, you know what? Even if they ghost me and nobody contacts me at all, I'm not going to let this take me away from Carnival, because I've had too much great interaction with Carnival, their staff, their people, the fun I've had on the ship, everything else like that, that even if this one bad spell, I wasn't going to let it say, okay, I'm out of here. I wasn't going to do that. It would take more than that for me. So, I was thrilled when Carnival called me, and it was on August 2nd. So where are we at? We're August 6th now, so 4 days ago. And very nice woman spoke to me and showed a tremendous amount of empathy. And she told me, that they got my message and apologized for it taking so long to get to me, that they saw, the public relations had even reached out to them, and I guess shared some of my videos or whatever, and that even upper management was looking into my case. Now, I'm going to go back to the part where, some people had issue with me posting stuff. And I even went back and rewatched some of my own videos to kind of see how I came across. And one particular video I watched, I could understand why, people might have thought, oh, you're just blaming Carnival. This is your fault. If you wouldn't have let your passport lapse for 6 months or whatever, this wouldn't happen. And even in that video, though, there's 3 different times, and I made a little clip, and I'm going to release a video probably tomorrow, kind of sharing the whole timeline of this thing and the different things that went wrong along the way. But even in that particular video, there was 3 different times within one video where I said, first off, this was my fault. Like, if I would have done my due diligence and done my accurate research and, made sure I read through all the emails and read through the contract and did everything else, I would have not made the mistake of being 3 days short of my passport being good to get on that cruise. I acknowledge that, and that's not the thing specifically that I'm upset with Carnival about. If that was it, then again, 100% my fault. Now let's go into some of the things that I would like to see Carnival change and what I had issue with. Okay, now first, to help you understand why I messed up on the passport, and again, my fault. But prior to checking in, I had gotten an email. Now, this email came regarding a cruise after the cruise in question that I didn't get on. And it was about my Thanksgiving cruise. And it said, hey, it was from Carnival, obviously. And it said, hey, based on prior passport information you've given for this cruise, Thanksgiving, you will need to have an updated passport, as this one will be, out. It'll be too late or whatever. Okay. So that let me know Thanksgiving, like, okay, yeah, hey, come Thanksgiving, I got to have a new passport, which led me to believe that my passport for this Carnival Splendor in July was fine. Now, my passport expires February 1st, 2025. That's the first date that it's not good for. So, I mean, I didn't do the math, obviously, or else I would have figured out that that was less than 6 months. It needed to be good till February 5th of 2025. But I'm thinking it's July and that's February. I thought it was like 7 months plus. I didn't even sit there and count. Now, and again, this isn't my excuse or this doesn't make it right or whatever. The beginning of June through the end of June, I was on 2 cruises. So spanning about 18 days. And then basically, it was July and we were right on the brink of, just a couple weeks away from going to Australia. And the thing is we get to check in. Now, this is the problem that I had that I'm hoping Carnival fixes. And as a matter of fact, 2 different people at the Sydney port, separate from one another, at check-in when I expressed my frustration, I guess, for being told I wasn't going to be allowed on the ship, and I explained that well, at check-in, I entered this passport information, and why didn't it alert me then that something was wrong, that my passport was going to be no good? Why did you all wait until I flew halfway around the world to tell me my passport was no good when you could have, flagged me at check-in? And, I was like, and the person there said, one would think so. One would think, and they're talking about their own company, that would happen, but it didn't. Now, as I've shared with several people and a couple of you is, if you go onto online check-in, you have to enter how you're going to pay them. Like if you want to go to the casino, for example, and spend $100 in the casino, and you don't bring cash in with you, you're going to have to charge it to your Sail and Sign card. They want to know that you're going to be able to give them that $100. And guess what? If you enter one wrong digit on that credit card information, it's going to say, ding, the credit card information you entered is no good. You need to try again or try a different credit card, because they want their money, right? So, and same thing like with birthdays or something like that. If you entered a birthday that was a date that showed you were under 21 and you were trying to buy Cheers, it would say, ding, you can't purchase this unless you're 21 years of age. And it wouldn't even let you do it. So my whole point is, have a ding where when you enter your information, and Carnival obviously knows the cruise that you're going on. They know the itinerary. They know the countries that you're going to. Whatever the country is that has the most stringent check-in procedure or dates, just have that date factored in. And so in my case, it would have been February 5th. And so if things would have worked out the way I hoped they would have worked out, 2 weeks prior to check-in, when I entered those travel documents, a note would have came up and said, based on this passport information you entered, you are 4 days short. Your passport needs to be good until February 5th, 2025. It's only good until January 31st, 2025. You will not be allowed to board the ship. Please check the box letting us know you acknowledge this. Now, again, whose fault is it? It's mine. It's mine. But if I could get that notification, not only would I have been saved from my own dumb mistake, right? But Carnival is in a better position. Carnival wins. As I expressed to some other people, like, why even have us enter that passport information if it doesn't mean anything? If the point of entering that passport information is to expedite, the boarding process, then if you're going to check it in port anyway, why not just have a box and say, what form of, information are you going to use to board the ship? Are you going to use a passport? Check the box. Why have me enter the date it was issued, the passport number, all of that different stuff, if you're not going to look at it for any reason. So that's what I say can be misleading to potential cruisers. And I'm going to stop rambling on here for a second to acknowledge that we have our first super chat of the day. And I also want to, oh, wait, maybe it's our second super chat. Because I see I've just been running my mouth and I see we have 2 super chats on here. But I'm wondering, you all have been going crazy on the comments, and we're going to get into some of these comments in just a second here. Let me try to catch up with any of the new people that I might have missed. Marjorie is here. Good to see you. Danny D is back. And James, my guy. Thank you, James, for that. Let me throw you up there because I hadn't seen you in a while. Katina is here. Joanne Paleo, it's good to see you as well. James, Katina, okay. And then we had our first super chat belongs to one admin, Tim. Zoe, come here. I've been talking so much, my mouth's dry. And this is, come here. Come on. That's it. High five. High five for Tim and Cheryl. And what do you say to them? There you go. She says thank you. And thank you for that, Tim and Cheryl. Much appreciated. Together We Travel is here. Good to see you all again. Cruise Nets, good to see you. Frankie Floyd is here once again. Good to see you, Frankie. Let me mark down the super chats. So we got Tim. You are 1 through 10. And I saw we had another one there, but there's so many comments that I got to get through some of these comments. J&T Adventures says, I'm listening and working on my next YouTube video. No worries. Work away. Everybody mostly just being nice, saying hello to, and we got our guy Eric, who I just mentioned, Eric from North Shore Travelers, and he is taking care of me here with a $20 super chat, which means I get to drink. And so I got my little shot glass here, and we got a little bit of Buffalo Trace left, and I am happy to say that we had another Coach Cruiser. We had Yoli and Andrew set us up with this bottle, and another Coach Cruiser set us up with another bottle of Buffalo Trace, and that is one Aaron Holmes. So I need to thank her for that as well. But Eric from North Shore Travelers, thank you so much. And we will give Zoe another treat as soon as she finishes that one from Tim. And I needed that after talking about all that mess there. So 71 of you, I see. This is a great turnout. If you could hit that like button, maybe we can push for 100. But we were at 60 when we started. We're at 71 now. Let me see if there are any questions in the comments. Martin Westerland says, I've heard Carnival is changing a lot of things and policies lately. Oh, sorry, Eric, I didn't put your super chat up there. So let me put that up there. T-Boat on the go. And I'll get back to that other comment I was just reading in a second here. T-Boat on the go says, I think the majority of us know exactly what your issue with Carnival is. I completely agree. There should be a big red flag when there is an issue with your identification. Thank you for that, T-Boat on the go. And again, it's not something, and again, the people that are saying it's your fault, that's fine. Yes, it is my fault, but let's make the system better. Okay, because I have a YouTube channel and I screwed this up, right? I have a YouTube channel on cruising and I screwed up. I made a mistake, right? And, I can point to a number of things that kind of contributed to that mistake and maybe, was misled me or made me think I was good or something like that. But ultimately, it was my fault, right? So if I can make that mistake, then how about a new cruiser? How about a couple that are going on their honeymoon or whatever that wanted to do that particular cruise, right? And they didn't read everything and check every email. They were new and everything. And just all of a sudden, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and said, we're sorry this happened to you, but it's really helped us because we didn't know about this. We didn't know about that. And now, we're going to make sure we renew our passport and do all these other things. So, in a way, some really good positives come out of it. And that's what I was hoping, with those videos and everything, that, we could make this better. And to Carnival's credit, at least in that initial phone call, which I'll get into a little bit, she expressed a lot of empathy. She said upper management was looking at this case, and and I'm going to share something that a coach cruiser on Facebook shared today as well, which I think, like, I don't know if it was a blanket email that went out to all the personal vacation planners or what, but and this is from Eric, North Shore Travelers. Say thank you. All right, there you go. So thank you for that again. And anyway, she said in her post, she said, "Hey, I was just contacting Carnival about something not even directly related to the cruise." But she said in that conversation, the personal vacation planner asked her twice, "Do you have a passport that's good 6 months or later from the end of this cruise?" Now, is that coincidence, or does that have something to do with this whole mess? If upper management truly, and I have no reason not to take this lady at her word, if upper management truly was looking at this case, then maybe they could have said, "Hey, you know what? I know we've sent emails out. I know it's in the fine print or whatever, but let's send a blanket email out to all our personal vacation planners and remind them, hey, when you're talking to clients and they're booking the cruise, you just remind them verbally also about the 6-month thing, right?" And maybe for a handful of them, it's gonna help them, right? It doesn't hurt. So that's what I'm saying. Let's fix the process to a point where I don't want to say it's dummy proof, because maybe that's too strong of a term, right? But it would definitely help make a mistake like what I made less likely. And that's the point of the check-in right there. So Martin, instead of a Carnival's changing a lot of things and policies lately, and people are not happy, which is not good. Well, I don't know specifically, Martin, what policies that you're talking about. Obviously this policy isn't. And James, thank you for that, my friend. James sent $25 via Apple Pay. And I know James well, so I know he's a man true his word, which means we got to get the bottle out, and which means Zoe, I think, heard that comment and hurried up and finished her treat. And James, let me mark you down here. So that means you are 31 through 55 in the super chat. And then I also, for the Loud Cup, admin Tim, I got you down 1 through 5. Eric, I got you down numbers 6 through 10 for that. And James, numbers 11 through 15. All right. And James, thank you, my friend. And Zoe, thanks you too. High five for James. What do you say? Arf. Okay. That was a thank you. We'll go with that. All right. So let's see. So we're at James. Again, thank you for that. Controversial cruising. Beer pong champion. Okay. Cruise Life TV. My passport will expire next year. I'm not going to wait and just renew it now. There you go. Carnival Cruise Addicts. If you can make that mistake as a serial cruiser, imagine the first-time cruisers. And great minds think alike. Carnival Cruise Addicts. And that's why you need to go subscribe to them, along with Cruise Life TV, Controversial Cruises, and all our other cruise content creators. I know we had Cruise Nuts and several other content creators on here. So go join all of them. I see Brad H is here now. But yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I agree with you. Charlene says, I hate to see what you went through. If nothing else, as my family is starting to broaden our cruising horizons. Some serious conversations have been had due to your experience. Thank you for sharing. And Charlene, thank you for that. And again, that's one of the things that kind of got me. There was a lady by the name of Bridget that posted several times, and she basically was saying, stop blaming Carnival, as if there was just one thing that I was blaming Carnival for, and they just couldn't let go. She couldn't let go of the passport thing. She couldn't look at, okay, well, let's make this check-in process better. And then that was just one part of it. That's only one thing that I've mentioned so far. There are a couple other things, like I said, that kind of went down the road after I failed to get that first boarding that some of you know about. but maybe not everybody does, and maybe that's why we got so many people watching today. But Charlene, yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, it's bigger than just one thing for sure. Um, Double and triple. Okay, Sandy lost Pirate Jenkins. Double and triple checked expiration dates on our passports, and I love it. Brad H. Brad H says, "I envy you. A spouse free for a couple weeks is a freaking blessing." If Shelly sees this, I'm so effed. Just sad you had to invest time and money. Well, thank you, Brad. And again, I want to touch base that I'm looking at Cheryl's name. Carnival did contact me and again had a great conversation. And I mean, as I expressed this to the person on the phone, because they talked to me about, well, your cruise fare, this and that, and what other expenses did you incur? They're asking me about expenses and things like that. I said, you know what? I super appreciate that you're asking me about this because of what it might mean. But I said, an even bigger thing is, I want to see positive come out of this, not just for me and anything financially for me, but for future cruisers. So, a nightmare like this doesn't happen for a future cruiser. And, and I honestly, I could hear the woman typing, like she was typing down everything. And like I say, very empathetic. It was a great conversation. And she said, look, I'm going to be your contact person. We're going to get this handled. And so I was very appreciative of Carnival. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that Carnival, yes, it was late. Yes, it took a while for them to get back to me. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? And, so and that was one of the reasons, because if I'd have gone live last week, I wouldn't have had much good to say about Carnival, because I still hadn't heard from them. I was still, upset about it and everything. And it might not have been the show that I wanted it to be. So I want to put that out there, that they have stepped up. So yeah. And Carnival Cruise Addicts, look at this. Let's see here. We got a couple more comments before. Cheryl says, I really think you've shined a light on what is perhaps a hiccup in their process system. So that's a positive from the hot mess you went through. Cheryl, thank you. That is well said. Adventures with Uncle Dave. Fortunately, your misfortune has opened a lot of cruiser and travelers' eyes to not get complacent in their travel prep and plans. And I agree with that, as people have pointed out. Absolutely. Yeah. Joanne, yeah, talking about Zoe. All right. And speaking of Zoe, guess who's got another treat for you? Come here. The Carnival Cruise Addicts has another treat for you. So Liz and Chris, give a big high five for them. And what do you say to Liz and Chris? You say thank you. That's right. Good girl. Oh, you dropped it. There you go. All right. So thank you for that, Liz and Chris. And look, we're getting close to the end of this bottle, and we're going to have to get out Aaron's bottle that I already broke into a little bit. All right. So Carnival Cruise Addicts, and let me mark you down here. CCA 56 through 70. And hey, Carnival Cruise Addicts, if we were all at a bar, who would be buying a drink for all of us, not just me, but Carnival Cruise Addicts, because, and you should go to their website, and Carnival Cruise Addicts, I don't even know if you've posted this, but their Facebook page, join their Facebook page as well. And maybe they posted a video on this. And if you have, I apologize, Carnival Cruise Addicts, but they got not one, but 2 hand payouts. They messaged me and, that they were going on their anniversary cruise and on the Carnival Magic. And I said, hey, because I know they're big gamblers. I said, I don't want a hand payout. I don't want to hear about a hand payout. I want to hear about 2 hand payouts because, again, they're in the casino quite a bit, rolling those slots, right? And so I get a message, and I'm not going to say how much, because I'm going to let them share that. If you want to see how much they made on the first hand payout, they shared that with me. They showed me the machine blowing up and shooting out fireworks and all that other stuff. And then I kid you not, it wasn't a half hour later, I get another message. and they hit another hand payout. Just so you all know how much a hand payout is, the minimum hand payout that you can get, I think, and Carnival Cruise Addicts will correct me if I'm wrong because I know they know, but I think the minimum to be a hand payout is $2,000. Anything less than $2,000, it just gives you credit or money or whatever. So Carnival Cruise Addicts, and yeah, go check them out for that. And thank you for this, Carnival Cruise Addicts. And then right behind, James set us up here. And so we are all the way up to 90. We're only 10 away now from doing a shirt drawing. And James, you have this next shot. And thank you, sir, before we get back into the conversation here. And I want to read through more comments. And we're almost up to 80. Keep hitting that like button. Let's try to make this 100. And James, thank you. And we still owe Zoe a treat. Ooh, they're starting to hit me now. Rick says a good topic for my column. I agree. I think it is a good topic. Katina says, Zoe's over there being so patient. And look at that. Josh Johnson got us right there. And James and Josh, you got a treat coming for Zoe. So first, high five for James. And say thank you again to James. Say thank you. There you go. All right. And Josh, I'm going to set this treat over here. So I remember that the next treat is for you, Josh, courtesy or thanking for Zoe. Josh says, I'm sailing on the Celebration in September. And I just checked my passport again, and it doesn't expire until 2031. Okay. So very good. But you checked it, and you're good. And again, Josh, thank you for that super chat. Truth to the Body, Natural Design. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I don't know about great, but Mandy, yes. Yay, CCA. Chrissy is here. Welcome, Chrissy. Thanks, Coach. We got a few more. Just didn't want to bore you with all our. Oh, look at that. Look at that. They're just gloating here. They won. Yeah, they won a new house. They won a car. And they won the $100,000 jackpot. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, look at that. We won. We got quite a few more. Just didn't want to bore you with all our winnings. That's not gloating at all, is it? Yeah, it is so great. Katina says that's so great at Carnival Cruise Addicts. Absolutely. Joanne says, besides cruising, I go to Aruba a lot, and you have to have a passport that doesn't expire within that 6 months. Also, you have to check international. Yeah. And I think the 6 month thing is pretty much a standard. I don't know what it is for every particular country, but the 6 months seems to be kind of a standard. So, for any of you with passports out there, I think that if you go ahead and do that whole 6 month thing, that should cover you. I haven't heard, excuse me, those shots are getting to me. I haven't heard of anything being longer than that 6 month guideline. So that should be good. But, yeah. Martin says, planning my first cruise ever on Carnival next summer. A little nervous as a solo traveler, but watching your videos have helped me a lot. Martin, that is one of the best compliments I can get. And, I hope to keep doing that. And thank you for being a subscriber. That's awesome. Josh says, by the way, thanks for the tip about El Cielo a couple years ago. I had never heard of it until you highlighted it, and we loved it. Yes. And pointing out another reason to watch the channel, and we have discussions like that. And Josh, I think we're doing Cozumel in March, and I will be looking forward to potentially going back to El Cielo or someplace like that. But Josh, you got a treat here for Zoe, as if, right at the right time. And then we are going to do our drawing for our shirt, and then we'll get back into the conversation. So high five for Josh. Say thank you. Say thank you. There you go. Good girl. All right. So as you can see here, we have nothing on the screen. And let me go through all the different super chats we had. Tim G, admin Tim, was numbers 1 through 10. Eric from North Shore Travelers started us off with the shots. He was numbers 11 through 30. Actually, CCA, I got to put you down for 16 through 20 on the Loud Cup. James, again, 21 through 25 for the second chance drawing I'm talking about. And yeah, okay, so we're good there. Okay, So James 31 through 55, Carnival Cruise Addicts 56 through 70, James again 71 through 90, and then Josh 91 through 100. So if I call your number, then you are going to get a Coach Cruise shirt sent, no charge. I cover shipping, everything. You just got to let me know the color and size. So here we go. As again, there's nothing on the screen. Siri, give me a random number 1 through 100. 21. So let's see who number 21 is. It is Eric from North Shore Travelers. He had numbers 11 through 30. So Eric, congratulations. You won the shirt. And just so everybody knows, because I see A&J on board started off our next round. A&J on board, and thank you for that, because I think you all are new, so that's even more awesome that you would do a super chat on your first time. At least I think it might be your first time, or unless you change your name. You said Zoe is going to be full of treats. Coach, thanks for making this a learning experience for others. And A&J, thank you for that wonderful comment and wonderful super chat. And let's get Zoe. Zoe's so skinny, right? It's because she just constantly is running around. But maybe if we give her enough treats, we can put a little meat on her bones. So high five for A&J, right? And what do you say to him? There you go. She says thank you. So thank you for that. And let's see here. Yeah, congrats, Eric. Absolutely. And there's Michelle from Cruise Life TV. Everybody's saying congrats to Eric. And Sandy says, sorry, 6 months expiration should not mean less than 6 months, it means expired. Controversial cruising. Exactly, Sandy. Okay. So, all right. So let's get back into the discussion. All right. So I get to the Sydney port, and obviously it's starting to dawn on me as I'm standing at the desk with the two ladies in front of me that this is like really happening. Like, this is not a joke. I'm not being punked. I'm actually not going to get on this cruise ship. And again, frustration and in that moment, you don't want to think of how, you screwed up. It's like, how could this happen to me? How could Carnival do this? Everything else like that. So I had all that emotion and everything else like that going on. And again, the port agents, one would think so, as you're checking, because I'm like, why am I giving a boarding pass if the boarding pass isn't any good? If doing all that information, if I entered everything accurately as I did, why am I giving a boarding pass? Which I think that's misleading to the cruiser that everything's okay, because in my mind, you shouldn't be given a boarding pass if your check-in isn't going to be good. So again, if you have a passport that's bad and you type in everything, you enter the issue date, the expiration date, the passport number, all that other stuff, there's got to be a little red flag. If there's a red flag that will tell you, okay, you're 1 digit off on your credit card and we can't process it, why can't there be, a red flag that says, okay, you're 9 days off on your passport, you're not going to be let on the ship. I mean, it seems like the same type of thing, right? And I know I had a couple people kind of discuss, and they made some comments about how different countries are different or whatever. Pick the most difficult country for the itinerary, and then that's the one that it has to be good for. It doesn't seem. I mentioned this too not too long ago. John Hill came on his Facebook, and he said, hey, look at our facial recognition. Look at our advanced technology or whatever. How great is this, that your face can be scanned and, at the snap of a finger, determine whether you're good or not. And, I'm thinking to myself, and this is after my incident, I'm like, yeah, we can have that, right? We can have that technology, but apparently we don't have the technology to say, oh, your passport's 4 days short. And, you're going to have to travel halfway around the world to figure that out, that you screwed up, and not 2 weeks before. Because again, 2 weeks before, I can fix it, right? I can get an expedited passport. I can go to the U.S. consulate in America and try to say, hey, I need a full 10-year passport or I'm not going to be let on this ship. Not an emergency passport, which I'm going to get into more of that story for those of you out there that don't know the whole story, right? Because I know some of you are watching this the first time. Okay, so I get denied. Let's get there because I've been talking about the same thing. And, I'm frustrated. They're looking for my bag. My bag is already on the ship. So I have to stand and wait, just mad, for like an hour and a half that I'm not going to go on this cruise. And, the guy, security or whoever he was trying to help me. And he was empathetic as well. And I appreciated him. And at one point he brought this other agent that was like a supervisor over to me. And this is after like an hour. Like I've already been told I'm not getting on the ship or whatever. And he brings this agent over to me and says, well, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to be able to board this ship. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is that what you came over here to tell me? I've been standing here for an hour waiting for my bag. Is that the reason you came over here to talk to me, to tell me, I'm already upset, but to tell me some information that I found out over an hour ago, that's what you came here to tell me. You had nothing else to say to me. And I was hot, that this woman came up and told me that I came over here to tell you that you're not going to get on the ship. And I'm like, what? Why did you feel it necessary to do that? What do you think I'm standing over here for? Do you think I'm standing over here because it's fun? I'm standing over here waiting for my bag because I know I'm not getting on the ship. And you come over here an hour after I've been told I'm going to be denied boarding to tell me what I already know. I'm like, are you serious right now? And I was hot. I didn't curse, but I was hot. I was mad. I'm not gonna lie. I was mad. I'm like, why are you telling me this? And the guy that had been, next to me, the security guy or whatever that was standing with me the whole time, he's like, he apologized for her. After she walked away, he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that's what she was going to say. Obviously, you already know and everything else like that. If I'd have known that, I would have told her to not even come over here or whatever. He had thought that she was going to come over and help in some way, but she had, and then this gets to the point I'm talking about. She had no way of helping me. She had no direction. She had nothing for me. And when I say nothing for me, I mean, like, okay, here's the number you can call, to contact Carnival in hopes that you can get this matter fixed. She had nothing for me in terms of, hey, look, sorry, this sucks. You're not going to be able to get on the ship. And also, I hate to break it to you, but there's no chance of you getting on the ship unless you can pull out a 10-year passport that's good, now. That's good 6 months or, because an emergency passport isn't going to cut it. They did not know that information. So this is the supervisor in the Port of Sydney, and plenty of U.S. cruisers go over there all the time, right? And I don't know if they go to Indonesia all the time. They may not do that, and they may not go to Singapore, and maybe they just do Australia and New Zealand, and maybe those expiration dates aren't good 6 months. Maybe they're 4 months or something like that. I'm not sure. But the thing that's frustrating to me that I'm hoping Carnival can fix is if you do have a situation where somebody is denied boarding, have information. It could just be a handout sheet or something where, like, look, if you're looking for a hotel, here's some hotels. If you're looking for a flight back, here are the phone numbers. Here are some websites that you can look for. If you're looking to try to get on the ship, you can catch up to the ship in this port only if you have this documentation. Like, have a handout or something that you can simply just give the people. If your supervisor doesn't know what they're talking about, the supervisor for that particular port, have somebody from Carnival Corporate, email the ports ahead of time. Hey, if you have anybody that doesn't make the ship, if it's via passport, if it's this, if it's that, or whatever, give them this handout. And this is the information that they can use to try to either catch the ship or to try to get home. Now, the best information for me, honestly, would have been for that port supervisor to know, like, hey, I know this sucks. I know you traveled halfway around the world, but I hate to break this to you. You're not going to get on that ship. You're not going to get on it in Brisbane. You're not going to get on it in Cairns if you go to the U.S. consulate or the U.S. embassy. Because I shared with his port supervisor, I shared like, okay, here's my plan. Um, I plan on going to the U.S. consulate tomorrow in Sydney and getting an updated passport, and then trying to catch the ship in Brisbane. And the port supervisor, and I know she did not tell me definitively, but she said, that sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. This is from the port supervisor, at least I think was the port supervisor, the person, that was running things at that port. That sounds like a good idea, right? So that's a Carnival employee that's running the port. So, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to get a passport because I know that the issue was I needed a valid passport that was good for 6 or more months. That's in my mind what I need. So I go to the U.S. consulate the next morning, but before I even go to the U.S. consulate, I talked to a Carnival representative over the phone when the office is open. I couldn't even sleep that night. So I kept checking my phone, like, when is it going to be 8 or 9 o'clock or whenever the Carnival office is open on the East Coast. And I find it. And then I talked to a representative, and she said, okay, here's the situation. I can't guarantee this, I can't guarantee that, but what we're going to do is, if you get a passport, I told her it was Monday then. I told her that I signed up for an appointment, but the earliest appointment I could get was Wednesday. But I said, if I can get in there, I'm going to try to get in there today being Monday. And if I can get in there, I'm going to try to catch the ship in Brisbane, because, the next option was going to be Cairns all the way on Friday, because they couldn't do it in Airlie Beach because it was a tender port. She says, I'm going to send a form to the ship and explaining that you're going to attempt to board, in Brisbane. So they will get this form letting them know that you're going to board. Then I spoke with Anita, who was on the ship. And I said, hey, can you go to guest services and find out if I'm going to be able to board? Like if I'm going to be denied boarding, if I'm on a list, if something else like that happens, whatever, can you do that? And she, I'm looking at Cruise Life TV. I'm going to. She went down to guest services and she said, your name is on a list that you're going to be boarding in Brisbane. So I'm thinking like, oh, sweet. I'm on a list. They know I'm coming. This is awesome, right? So I go to the U.S. consulate. I explain my situation. The U.S. consulate, and somebody pointed this out to me too, and they're not wrong. Somebody said the U.S. consulate should have known better. The U.S. consulate, when I emailed, I had a security guy said, look, come up to me. Or actually, I went up to him and I said, look, I don't have an appointment, because there was this big long line to get in the U.S. consulate in Sydney. And I said, but here's my situation. I need to catch this ship in Brisbane tomorrow, and I don't have an appointment until Wednesday. And he went back in and he came back out and he said, look, you don't have an appointment. I can't help you. But here's this email address for emergencies. You can try to email them and maybe they get back to you. Maybe they can help you today. And I said, okay, cool. And so I go down this little coffee shop, I order myself a little tart and a coffee latte or whatever. And I email and I drink the coffee and eat the little latte. I look back at my email and what do you know? I already got a reply from the U.S. consulate. And it said, Brad, here's what you can do. Understand your situation. We need updated passport photos, which you can get on this corner at this address. And they even give me, they gave me all the information I needed to find this place. And then I need an itinerary. They need an itinerary of the ship and where it's going. I took screenshots of everywhere it was going. And that's the point that somebody had pointed out, is they said they should have known that these countries don't accept emergency passports. The U.S. consulate should have known that. And they're not wrong. But I sent the itinerary, everything else, where the ship was going. And they said, once you do that, come on back to the office. We'll let you in. We'll get you an appointment. Did that, got my emergency passport. Some of you saw my live. It's still out there if you want to check it out. I was so happy, so happy. I was walking out with my passport. I said, look, I got my passport. I'm gonna, head back. I'm gonna have a drink. I think Cruise Life TV was watching that live. They bought me a drink. They sent me a super chat. I had a schooner of beer or two. Um, and was just live walking across the Sydney Harbor Bridge. I was showing everybody the Opera Building, just happy as could be. Like we're going to make this happen. We got this done. I'm going to get on a flight to Brisbane. And I did, flew to Brisbane, got a hotel, stayed there overnight, took my Uber there, took my Uber to the port. And then that's when, the finalization of the nightmare was going to happen. But before then, and my mouth's getting dry here. Let me see if there's any more comments because we have Cruise Life TV that was so nice. I'm just looking at Sandy Pirate Jenkins. My husband would have been arrested. Well, I was not happy. A hand pay is $1,200 or over. If it's not, it's $11.99. Okay, Joanne, I did not know that. So you all were talking gambling, so that's encouraging. All right. The Cajun would have come out to be hard, says Uncle Dave. Cruise Life TV with that attitude makes you wonder if this happens a lot. Joanne Paleo has been 6 months valid from when travel ends, right? Orange Cone Vlog is here. Hey, howdy. Hey, everyone. What's going on, Orange Cone Vlog? And Ross. All right. Let's go down here. And now we are to Cruise Life TV, who says, have a drink, coach. And that means Zoe gets a treat as well. Zoe, do you want your treat? We may have just finished this bottle. There's not much left. Let's see if we can fill up a shot with that. Yes, perfectly. The last drop there for this bottle. But again, courtesy of Aaron, who I have not seen check in yet today, we have another bottle, and you see I broke into that one a little bit, but we have another bottle as a backup there. But Cruise Life TV, Greg and Michelle, thank you so much. And I will do that right now. And we got a treat for Zoe, courtesy of Hey, everybody. So I apologize so much. I see there's 15 of you still hanging on. Tremendous apologies. That's obviously never happened. Yeah, I just really apologize for that. Uh, yeah, Nelly says talking mess about Carnival. They took him off. Haha. Actually, I wasn't talking mess, Nelly. I mean, I don't know if you came in late or what. Let's see here. Hold on. Sorry about that. I took myself off. It said some of your destinations had errors, and so I clicked on that and then went back. I see we got 25 of you back now. So again, I have you on my phone right now, and that's why the picture looks a little bit different. I don't know why my Wi-Fi went screwy. It says I have 2 bars out of 3, and I see we're back up to 42. Okay, so yeah, we can keep this party rolling. And again, apologies, Carnival Cruise addicts, just because you need it now. They sense the stress that I was going through in trying to get with you all once again. And Zoe hit the stop button. Yeah. Um, we're gonna get the Aaron's bottle out here. We finished Andrews and Yoli's bottle of Buffalo Trace. I'm holding the phone while I'm pouring the shot, so that's why it's a little bit. Let me see if I can turn this sideways. And oh, you know what? That works. I got this little thing I can try to put you all in this little holder thing here, and maybe that'll work. And it kind of does. I gotta scoot it up a little. All right, we got 51. Wow, you all are amazing. Let me try to get the phone stuck in there a little bit better. Because again, I am on a phone now instead of the computer. Come here, Zoe. Come here. Carnival Cruise Addicts did a $15 super chat. So you are numbers 26 through 40. That means you get another treat. High five for Liz and Chris. High five. There you go. What do you say to them? What do you say to them? I don't hear you. What do you say? What do you say? Yeah, you say thank you. Good girl. All right. So you got a close up there of Zoe. Okay. So Liz and Chris, thank you for this. And the comments, again, I'm looking on my phone here, so I don't have my computer. I have no idea what's going on with my computer here. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or what, but you're on my phone. I figure that's better than nothing. Um, Liz and Chris, CCA, you are numbers 26 through 30 now on this Loud Cup. And yeah, just getting back into the conversation again, that the comments are going to be a little bit more difficult here. But so I think how it left off, I was talking about, Sydney, and I was saying like how I thought like if the port supervisors could get just some kind of a handout, like it's faxed to them, or, I know they don't do faxes anymore. It's emailed to them, the itinerary or whatever for that particular cruise, all the information for that particular cruise. If something goes wrong, if there's somebody in my situation, can you give them this handout that has all the phone numbers that they can call, email addresses, if it's travel information they need, there's some travel information on there, just something to kind of point them in the right direction. As I asked the port supervisor in Sydney as I walked out with her and a security guard to make sure, I guess I didn't cause any trouble or whatever. Um, I said, is there anything else you can tell me? She's like, you can call 1-800-Carnival. And I'm like, is that it? That's it. That's the big information. I can call 1-800-Carnival. I'm like, you gotta be able to do better than that. And they couldn't. They couldn't do better than call 1-800-Carnival or guest care. That was it. And I mean, from somebody again that's missing their cruise. And I don't care if this is in Miami and it was only a 3-hour flight home, it still would have sucked, right? But to travel halfway across the world and have somebody tell you, call 1-800-CARNIVAL, and it's like, you got to be kidding me. You got to give me something better than that. And again, um, I keep saying this for the people that are out there. It was my fault first. I understand this, but the point I'm trying to make about, we can do a little bit better in terms of communication, and then if somebody is dumb enough to make a mistake like I made, can we give them some kind of information that helps them save them from themselves, or at least lessens the blow that they take, right? So that was the deal. Um, all right. So I got to the point, like I said, I was so happy. And I remember now, this is the part where I left off. I was so happy with getting this passport, and I fly to Brisbane. And, I'm taking the Uber to Brisbane. And I remember telling the Uber driver, I'm like, where's the port? And he's like, oh, it's back by the airport. And he was driving me like a half hour away from the airport. And I'm like, oh, geez. I'm like, well, I screwed that up. But I'm like, okay, no biggie. I'm going to get on a ship tomorrow and everything will be cool. So I wake up the next morning, and I remember this, and I shared this in a video as well. Uh, I remember getting up and I'm walking downstairs because I'm going to catch my Uber. And I think to myself, like, hey, God, I'm hungry. And there's some breakfast or something going on down there. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be on a ship in an hour. I can eat whatever I want, as much as I want. We don't need to get any food. We don't need any food, right? And so, I take the Uber over to the port, and then I get there and I'm all excited. I see the ship, I'm taking video, like my party music that I'm gonna film later and show me getting on the ship, and everything's happy and everybody's good and all this other stuff. And then, I remember doing the video, and I think I shared this video somewhere, and I remember saying, you know what? I'm excited, but there's a little bit of me that's still a little bit nervous until I actually get on that ship. I'm wondering if they're going to come up with some other reason why I can't get on the ship. I got my valid passport. It's good for a year, but I'm thinking, there's some part of me that's thinking that something could go wrong, that some little part could be messed up or whatever, and I couldn't get on the ship. So, trying to be positive, but there's that little lingering doubt, and that lingering doubt was proved to be accurate. So we get in there, and I see some lady sitting in there. She's got some luggage next to her, and there weren't too many people, but they were sitting in this waiting area. And I said, "Hey, are you waiting to get on the ship?" She said, "Yeah." She's like, "I've been here about an hour," and they said just to wait here. They had to clear the ship until they could come out and talk to us. And I guess there's about a dozen of us, I think she said, and that are waiting to get on the ship. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, you would have thought that, considering there was only a dozen of us, they could have, gotten a couple of security to come over here and take care of us. But okay, whatever. I'll sit here. We'll wait. And finally, after a couple hours, I even did a video, and then I get word like, oh, hey, security's coming out, get in here. Okay. So go in there, walk us through, get up. Some lady looks at my passport, and she has a little peculiar look. And I'm like, oh, that's an emergency passport. And she looks at it, and then some person above her is like, yeah, just, check it, run it through, whatever. And I'm like, okay. So they run it through. And then there was a couple other people that were with me, and they're like, they had to do their passports and everything. They're like, okay, just wait over here in this area. So we're sitting there waiting. I'm talking with this lady that, I'd been talking with the whole time, and, talking about this or that, whatever. Eventually, it gets to the point where, like, oh, okay, this lady that I was talking to, they go to her and they're like, oh, yeah, go ahead and come with us. We're going to walk you on the ship. And I'm just like, well, I came on the same time as her. Why am I not included? And they're like, oh, somebody's going to be coming out to talk to you in just a minute. And I'm like, oh my God. That doesn't sound good at all, does it? And so sure enough, somebody comes and talks out to me, and it's another lady. And she's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, well, good. I mean, it's been a big ordeal. But, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I'm going to get on the ship. You guys asked me to get a valid passport that was good for 6 months or more. So here you go. Here's my passport. They checked it over there already. And she's like, yeah, um, you're not going to get on the ship. And I'm like, seriously? And she's like, yeah, Indonesia doesn't accept emergency passports. I'm like, wow, you're kidding me right now. Like, seriously? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, I can't freaking believe this. I was like, I talked to the person in Sydney. They said, this sounds like a good idea. I talked to somebody on the phone. They said they were going to send a form to the ship. you know, Anita was on the ship, said, I'm on a list of people that are going to board, with an emergency passport, even so much. And now you're telling me after I go through all this and I fly from Sydney to Brisbane, I go to the US consulate, everything else like that, you're telling me that I'm not going to get on this ship. And she was like, yeah. And, obviously I was hot. Again, I didn't curse. I'm proud of myself. I didn't curse. I was like, well, maybe I did. Maybe I said, I can't effing believe this. Um, but after, it was all settled again, and I kind of repeated what I just talked about. I said, okay, I was like, all right, do you have any information for me? Because obviously I have to go home. Obviously, I'm not getting on this ship, right? I have to go home. That's what you're telling me, right? She said, yes. You're not going to be able to get on the ship. And I'm like, okay, do you have a phone number for me? Is there somebody I can call that, because obviously I wasn't prepared to get on a plane and fly back to the United States today. Is there, obviously Carnival Travel handles this type of stuff, and, they set up plane flights and everything all the time for people traveling to their cruises and stuff like that. Can you give me a phone number like that? No, I don't have any of that information. I'm like, you serious? So I'm like, who do I call for help? Who can help me now, because I need help. I have to get home, obviously. I can't stay in Australia apparently, and I asked, I was like, can I get on the ship? You say I can't because Indonesia doesn't accept emergency passports. We were in Brisbane, right? And then there was going to be Airlie Beach the next day. Then there was going to be a cruise day. And then there was going to be Cairns. So that would have been 4 days. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm okay for Australia. Can I get on the ship now? And then you guys just kick me off in Cairns before you go to Indonesia. And they're like, yeah, no, we can't let you do that. And I'm like, why not? And well, they didn't have a reason, but they're like, oh, it's because of, well, I guess they did. They said something about, I don't remember what they said, international travel, whatever, but we can't let you get on. And so I'm like, okay. Uh, so again, can I get some help? Can I get something? 1-800 Carnival guest care. That's what I got. 1-800 Carnival guest care. So guess what? I called 1-800 Carnival, and I talked to that somebody, nice young lady, it sounded like, and I explained the entire situation. I explained everything that I went through, and she had me on hold a couple different times. I'm checking with this person. I'm checking with this person, and they said, okay, yeah. She finally comes back, and based on everything you told us, we can't help you. There's really nothing we can do for you. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? They're like, contact guest care. And I'm like, can you transfer me to them? And she's like, no, they don't have like a number that we can transfer you to. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to get a hold of them? Well, like, if you go to the Carnival website, you can email them. And I'm like, really? I'm waiting on an email for help. That's what I'm waiting on, right? I'm waiting on an email. I'm halfway around the world, and I'm supposed to email somebody and hope that they respond to it and help me. And that's the email that I got that was dated 7/22 to guest care, and which I got the automated response that it might take 5 business days. Thank God I didn't wait for them to help me, right? Because it would have been 10 days later, and I'd have probably had, $3,000 in hotel bills and who knows how much in food and drinks and everything else. Thankfully I was proactive enough to, go do everything myself and get on a plane, and got back to the States. And yeah, so that was a big mess. But the part, like I said, that I feel Carnival bears a little bit of weight, bears a little bit of blame, is not having their employees, whether it be in port or whether it be on the phone or whatever, to basically tell me like, hey, you're wasting your time. Don't try to get a emergency passport because it's not going to be accepted. Like I feel like they should know this information. Like I feel like there's more than just me that's ever had this happen to them. I mean, again, I'm the only person maybe on YouTube that has had this particular experience happen, but I feel like there's other cruisers out there that have had this experience. So they should know, like, okay, if you're in Sydney and you're going to these particular countries, okay, we know this country doesn't accept emergency passport. So, and again, this person didn't know. They didn't know. So I don't want to accuse this Carnival person that's in port of being a bad person or whatever. I think they were trying to be supportive. But, when I told them, okay, well, I mean, the best plan I have right now is to go to the US consulate, US embassy, and get this emergency passport. They said that's a good idea. You could probably catch up to the ship in Brisbane and you should be able to board. Again, I'm grabbing for straws here. I'm grabbing for anything. So, of course, I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, you think it's a good idea. You're port supervisor at Carnival, And then again, I talked to somebody on the phone, and they're like, and again, I don't want to say anybody says. There's nobody ever in this whole process that says, I guarantee you're going to get on the ship. There was nobody ever that said that. But it's giving me, filling my idea that wanted to be filled with the idea that I was going to get on the ship, and they weren't saying no, you're not going to be able to. You know what I'm saying? They're basically like encouraging or giving me hope that it was going to happen. So I'm going to try to read through some of these comments. And again, I'm on my phone, so apologies. I see Aaron has finally checked in with us. And again, I pointed out Aaron supplied me with this current bottle of Buffalo Trace, which I just did. I did the first shot courtesy of Carnival Cruise Addicts. And if there's any other super chats, I'm going to find them here. Bone Tired Travelers, you got hungry, then hangry. Caribbean Man, I work at Grand Turk Carnival Cruise Center. Yes, it's a beautiful island. Yes. Caribbean Man, you said next time I was in Grand Turk to hit you up. I remember that comment. And you got to, next time I'm in Grand Turk, be watching and remind me of that. And we will, yeah, we'll hook up. We'll take a selfie. We'll do it all. Carnival Cruise Addict says we love Grand Turk and are going in October. I love Grand Turk too. It's one of my favorite ports. On August 15th, there will be a new policy of Grand Turk Cruise Center. Okay. Carnival Cruise Addicts, link with me when you come back. Caribbean Man, as long as I can go to Jack Shack and Grand Turk, I'll be happy. Everyone will need an ID to enter the cruise center if you are not working there. Okay. Nellie says, I mean, any situation where an individual can't get on the ship, they are no help at all. That is horrible. Some don't have the wherewithal to do plans by their own self. Sad. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but obviously I'm guessing what you called an experienced cruiser, and I screwed this up, right? I screwed this up. So imagine people that are going on their first cruise or their second cruise, or it's their first international cruise. This is my second international cruise, and I think that contributed to the screw up. But yeah, so okay, I think we're caught up on comments. Maybe I didn't go back far enough. Adventures with Uncle Dave, it was crazy while you were gone. Okay, all right. Everybody's just having fun. Let me apologize again. I cannot even believe there are still 56 of you watching this right now. I was offline for what had to, it seemed like a half an hour. Maybe it was 5 minutes, maybe it was 10 minutes. But the fact that 56 of you still jump back on, you all are amazing. So cheers to you. And yeah, let me just say, I want to reiterate, I want to go back to Carnival calling me. And again, I will say this. I think there is, first, my fault, the 6 month passport thing. Everybody that has chimed in and said, hey, I've checked my passport, I made sure it's good 6 months or longer. I didn't know this, or I did this because of what happened to you. That's good. Thank you for that, because that helps me feel a little bit better about my screw up, and the fact that it's potentially helping anybody else from not making the same screw up that I did. Now, that being said, were there things that Carnival could have had in place that would have saved me from myself, okay, because I screwed up? Yes, we talked about that. We talked about the check-in process. Have a little flag go up. You have a flag go up. If I enter my credit card information so you guys can charge me when on the ship, and I enter one digit wrong on anything, any part of that credit card, it's going to say, nope, you screwed up. Enter it again, or enter a different credit card, right? So if you can do that, then you can do the same thing for a passport, and you can save potential cruisers that screw up like myself did a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble. And again, if you wait until a cruiser like myself did gets to the port, and you're supposed to be on the ship, right? You're supposed to be on the ship within a couple hours before sail away. You're not going to have time to fill that room. So even if both of us would have said, yeah, we're not going on the cruise because I can't get on, you're not going to be able to fill that room. So that room's going to stay empty. Guess what happens if that room is empty? You don't get money from me for specialty restaurants. So if I was going to go to the steakhouse, which I would have, you don't get that $100. You're not going to get money from me for the casino. It's like if I was Carnival Cruise Addicts, there's another thumbs up. If I was Carnival Cruise Addicts, they're going to spend a lot of money in the casino. I'll spend a lot of money in the casino. You're not going to get any of that. How about excursions? You going to get any money from me for excursions on a ship that I'm not even on? Nope. And how about cheers? I buy cheers for every single cruise. And guess what? For this particular cruise, because it was 15 days, was over $2,000. Are you going to get any money from me for that? Nope. That's money out of your pocket, Carnival. So the people that want to say, oh, well, it's your fault. You're right. And I should take care of that and everything else like that. But Carnival could be of more assistance pointing out that discrepancy in the passport information. And who's that going to help? It's not only going to help your cruiser, which is me, and anybody else that might be in a situation like me in the future. It's going to help Carnival. It's going to help Carnival stockholders. It's going to help Carnival make more money. It is a win-win for everybody. And that's the type of thing that we're talking about fixing. Let's fix this so it doesn't happen again, because it's good news for everybody. It's good news for the cruiser. It's good news for Carnival. It's good news for everybody. So let's make it right. All right. Now, Carnival's already done one thing. I shared the email with you. Okay. They couldn't respond in 5 days or less. So they changed their email thing. I don't know if it was because of me, but it's an awful weird coincidence, right? That, a couple days after I come out with a video that says they responded, it said they were going to respond in 5 business days, and it's been like 9 or 10 days, whatever, and they still hadn't. And then all of a sudden the email changes, right? I talked with the lady. Carnival is great. She says she's going to work on it, everything else like that. Upper management's working on it. And as somebody shared on the Coach Cruise Facebook page, they called Carnival and they told her a couple different times on something totally unrelated to, her booking or whatever. Hey, is your passport good for 6+ months? Hey, is your passport good for 6+ months? 2 different times. Okay, is that coincidence, or does that have something to do with this situation? So Carnival's listening. Carnival is watching. And their Carnival is trying to get better. I want to reiterate that. I want to reiterate that because, I've had a great time with Carnival. I love the crew with Carnival. As many of you know, several cruise directors that I'm friends with on Carnival have all been great. So even if they'd have completely ghosted me, I was still going to cruise with Carnival. But and again, it's fair. You could say, well, it took them a while to get back to you, didn't it? And you wouldn't be wrong. But the fact is, and like I said at the beginning of the show, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we're going to see how they finish. And I think I'm going to be happy. I think that, you can already see they're already making some policy changes. They're already getting the word out to their Carnival vacation planners like, hey, let's get this right. Let's make sure our potential cruisers aren't caught in a situation where they screw up. Let's help them make sure they don't screw up. And I think that's a great role to play. And yeah, I'm going to go through the comments here once more. We are almost 30 minutes over. I know I wasn't offline for 30 minutes. So I see we got a couple new people here. All right. North Shore Travelers. Lourdes is here. I'm sorry I joined late. Can you update me with any response from Carnival? Lourdes, I think I just did. So unless you have another question, put it in the comments, but I think I just did. Carnival Cruise Addict said still 56 in the 56 in the chat. Coach, keep going. Bone Tired Travelers, what policy did Carnival change? I can watch the replay. Okay, so Bone Tired Travelers, there isn't a particular policy that Carnival has said they came out and changed. What I did share, and I shared this on my Facebook page, they changed their automated emails that goes out if you contact guest care. So when my incident happened, they said, somebody's going to respond to you within 5 business days. And I shared an email, a 1-minute short video, and I put the link of that on my Coach Cruise Facebook page. And I said, hey, it's been 9-10 days. I still haven't responded. And, what's going on? So yesterday, after being contacted by Carnival, they said, hey, could you send us some receipts for this and that and all the extra expenses you incurred, while you were, trying to board the ship. And so I shared that with them. And when I shared that, immediately I get an automated response. Well, this automated response was different. It didn't say, thanks for the response. Somebody will get back to you within 5 business days. This one said, we'll get back with you as soon as we can. Okay, so they changed the wording because I had badmouthed them, I guess you could say, about saying 5 business days. And here it was almost 2 weeks later, and I still hadn't gotten a response. So, by policy, that's what I'm saying. Now, policy in terms of what I hope they change is I hope they change their check-in process. We're like, what's the point of entering all your passport info if they're not going to give you a red flag when things are wrong, right? If things are messed up. So that's what I'm hoping there. We are the week after you at North Shore Travelers. Down Under Cruisers. We got our Australian people here. G'day, Coach. Hope you are all okay. Thank you for that, Down Under Cruisers. And we got Redneck Lever 22. Redneck says, Carnival's about me, priced me out of sailing solo. They've jacked up the prices of even their smallest ship, and without an onboard credit offer, it's losing any of its value. I'm sorry to hear about that, Redneck. You know what? I mean, John Heald keeps talking about that, how the demand for cruising is so much higher. I mean, that's good in a lot of ways, but if it's to the point where it's pricing somebody like yourself out who would like to cruise and cruise solo, it's not such a good thing, right? I mean, it's good in some ways, but obviously it's bad in the ways that you're talking about. And I know somebody we've had on the channel here before, the Weekend Cruiser. He's a solo cruiser and cruises often. And, he talks about how there are very few cabins that are available for solo cruisers. But, Redneck, and I forget the whole name here, Redneck Lever 22. I would contact Carnival and talk to them about solo cruising and getting that solo cruising rate, because almost all the cruise rates are double occupancy, right? And that's what messes you up. That's what makes it, unaffordable for you. And definitely, sympathy goes out to those solo cruisers, because I know you're paying for two, even if you're going by yourself. So that's a difficult thing. So yeah, maybe that's something else that hopefully uh, Carnival Cruises is watching this video too, and that's something that maybe they'll even reach out to you, or they'll say something about that, and try to reach out to solo cruisers, because I know there's a number of you out there. And I've been a solo cruiser a few times. So, I get that, but if the price isn't right, then yeah, you can't do it. Caribbean Man 14 says Jack Shack is a beautiful bar, restaurant, clean and orderly. Yes, it is. Shane says he agrees with Redneck Lever 22. Denise is in the house. Redneck. Where'd you go? This is the bad part about Redneck Lover 22 says, thanks, Shane. It's getting silly. Carnival really always had little regards for solo cruisers after the pandemic, but I had gotten good offers through them the past 2 years to make it worth it. Not now. I hope that changes. I hope they see this, and I hope that changes. Mandy says, hit that like button. Do what Mandy says. Hit that like button. North Shore Travelers, well, got to put the kids to bed. Night, everyone. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Love you, brother. Yoli is here. We're sorry we're late. We'll go back and watch the parts we missed. Yoli, you might have to fast forward through about 10 minutes, because I went offline. I'm going to have to upgrade my Wi-Fi. It's the first time this happened, but we got kicked off our server, and I could not get on. So I'm on the phone right now. And yes, good night, Eric. Hey, Yoli. Lourdes is here. Coach, that wouldn't happen if you're booking your cruise online. So if enter the info, are you going to get an error message? That's what should happen. I I agree with you, Lourdes. I hope that's what happens. Chris from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Chris says, let me see if I can highlight this. Yes, I can. John says, changes may be coming later this year. I hope he's referring to changes in terms of, boarding and things like that. Uh, at least double point John is fighting for, and Night Eric. All right, so that is about it. I mean, I gotta tell you, I am so impressed. There's still 46 people online. We are 35 minutes over our normal hour. I lost you all for 5 to 10 minutes at least. And initially there was 15 people online, and then instantly there was like 50 or more people online. And here we are, there's still 51 people online. I hope you hit the like button. I hope you got something out of this. Again, to kind of sum up everything, I was a little disappointed in Carnival. First, it was my fault. I needed supplies a passport that would have been good for 6 months or more. I've done a lot of shots today, excuse me. 6 months or more, I needed to have a passport that was good for after the end of my cruise date. It was good for 10 of my 15 days that I was supposed to be on the cruise, but it needed to be good until February 5th. It was only good until January 31st. So it was 4 to 5 days short, depending upon how you do your math, being a good passport that would have gotten me on the ship. And, like I said, my biggest gripe is, hey, 2 weeks to 17 days prior to check-in or prior to boarding, you have to enter your information, your passport information, your credit card information, all your stuff that you need to be good to board. And then you're provided boarding passes. My number one gripe, like I said, first, it's my fault for not making sure it was the 6 months. But my number one gripe, I guess, is fix that. Fix that. Save me from my own stupidity. Okay, save me from my own stupidity. I'm a first-time cruiser. I'm a second-time cruiser. Actually, I was a second-time international cruiser. So I was on my second cruise only internationally. Save me from my own dumb self. And I get it. There's people that pointed out, well, they sent you an email. Okay, I get about 100 emails a day. I kid you not. I get about 100 emails a day. Probably 50 of them are junk mail, but I get another 50 emails that are somewhat legit that I have to sift through. And I'm like, okay, delete, 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 whatever. Add to it. I got another email that suggested, hey, on your Thanksgiving cruise, your email is not going to be any good. Okay, you're going to have to get that fixed. It's July. My passport expires in February. So, I didn't do the math. Again, my failure. But, I thought I was good. So, save me from my own stupidity. That's what I'm talking about right there. And like I said, the online check-in thing is the perfect place to do it. You enter your passport info, should get a little red flag. You give me a red flag for a credit card. You give me a red flag if I'm trying to buy alcohol and I'm not 21. You give me a red flag for a bunch of different things. Why not give me a red flag for the passport to know that I'm not even going to be able to get on the ship? Doesn't seem like that difficult thing to do, like that difficult of a thing to do. So yeah, so that's about it. And yeah, I know some people are saying good night, so I will say good night as well. And again, just thank you everybody for being so supportive, staying here with us. We're almost going on close to 2 hours now, hour and 38 minutes, and we were up to over 80 people, and there's still 47 of you here in 1 hour and 40 minutes. So you all are awesome. I must say good night, Will G. Thank you. He says good night, all, and take care, everybody. And I guess I'm going to let you all go if I can figure out how to close this out. And all right. Good night, everybody. Take care. All right. I apologize to everybody here. Let me see. Okay. Apparently I cannot let you all go. As Cruise Life TV has pointed out to me, I'm still live. I I rebooted the computer and they said, hey, your screen is black, but you were still on. And once again, I hit some X there. Okay, there I am. Some of your destinations have errors. Okay. All right. There's still 12 of you on here. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how to end this thing. But I'm going to hit a different button and hopefully I end. And the 12 of you, 17 of you that are on still here now, we are just shy of 2 hours. There was about 80 or 90 people on here for most of the show. And I got a message. Thankfully, I didn't like take all my clothes off and streak, naked or anything, because that would have been very embarrassing. And I didn't say anything bad or anything while I was on air, but thought I was off air. But yeah, here I am, and I screwed this up again, kind of like I screwed up my Splendor cruise and wasn't able to board. So it appears that this episode is very fitting that I wasn't able to get out. So I'm going to try to end this again. For all 15 of you that are still watching, you are absolutely amazing. I can't believe you did it, but thank you so much for doing that. And here we go for try number 3 or 4. I'm going to try to end this again right now. And hopefully, I won't see you again until Tuesday. Not because I don't want to, but because of, I got to figure out how to run audio and video, right? So here we go. Take care, everybody. Peace. Thank you for watching. And those of you that are still hanging on, thank you so much. We'll see you all next week, Tuesday, I hope. All right. Take care, everybody. Love you.